Now, it's our privilege to hear from the visionary behind Sai University. Please join me in welcoming Mr. K.V. Ramani, Sir, founder and Chancellor of Sai University. Ramani, Sir, is a pioneering figure in India's information technology sector. He co-founded NASCOM and served as its chairman emeritus. As a founder of Future Software and Hughes Software, he played a significant role in advancing India's IT industry. Mr. Ramani established Sai University with a vision to create a world-class institution that emphasizes liberal education and interdisciplinary learning. Sir, please welcome.
Now, to begin the program for the day, on behalf of Sai University and myself and my colleagues, a great pleasure, especially welcoming the prospective students and the parents to this gathering of Sai University Open House. The first point I'm going to talk about, what is this new university, Sai University? I do not know how many of you heard of Sai University before this event. Those who heard of Sai University earlier, other than my colleagues, could you please raise your hands? That's a good number. Thank you. That's a good number. So to begin with, let me just say, coming from top down, India's higher education has not seen a major development in the last 75 years, or at least when we started Sai University, 71 years since independence. The reason for making this statement is very simple. In the last 70 plus years of independence, we have focused on primary education, school education, which is important. But we have, along the line, lost out on developing our institutes of higher education throughout the country to global standards. The proof of this is the international ranking, which is done by Times International and QS International Ranking. Worldwide, they rank about 7,000 universities on multiple 360-degree evaluation. There you would see that you will not see any Indian university in the top 100. Not even one. Our Ivy League schools, IITs and IIMs come between 150 and 170. You can count them in the fingers in one hand. Why is this not happening? Our private universities and government institutions around the country are ranging from 2,000 to 7,000 global ranking. 2,000 to 7,000. That means somewhere along the line, we have not paid attention to developing our institution of higher education. We are caught up in the muddle of multiple parameters hurting ourselves and not really focusing on education. Otherwise, out of 7,000 universities and higher education in this country, we should have had a handful of them in the top 100. Considering that 1/3 of the faculty in Western education in US are from faculty from India. Another third are from faculty from China. So we are actually providing the knowledge for educating our own children, but in a physical campus located elsewhere. You see the irony of it? And the second data point that you must consider is that each year, 7 lakh students are going from India for higher education abroad. 7 lakhs. And these parents of these 7 lakh students who go to the Western universities, on the average are paying 1.2 crores for a 4-year education. That's the least. I'm not taking to the fees of Ivy League school, I'm talking about schools of moderate education. 25 lakhs fees per year, 5 lakhs for living expenses, about 30 lakhs over 4 years, about 1.2 crores. Why are we driving our own young adults to international destinations for higher education? We're doing it because we have not provided them the opportunity here. Here we are caught between our politics of several dimensions, which I don't want to get into, which is not conducive for education and learning. So the whole concept of Sai University was born with a vision to build India's first international university. And we want to not do it in the next 100 years, because some of these eminent universities that you see internationally are 150, 160, 200 years old. But we want to do it in the next 10 years. We want to fast track. We don't want to be accredited to Indian institutions. We want to be accredited to global institutions. Our ambitions are sky high. Our ambitions are not looking at the Indian marketplace. So we tried to establish an institution in India which can provide our students from India global education in India at a cost that parents can afford in India without causing disruption of the students and their families. Because not to forget, a 17-year-old young adult being driven away from home, missing their family, missing their friends, living in alien society, adjusting to societal norms, adjusting to food, adjusting to taking care of themselves, everything from cooking, cleaning, laundry, and of course studying, and we expect the parents to say that you please get a gold medal. We're putting an enormous pressure on the young adult, as a result of which we see the huge raise in the mental well-being illness of our young adults. So, as seniors, we have a responsibility to ensure the future of our next generation, young adults, are taken care of in a sense which is logical to provide the highest quality of education for them in India. And we do see, as we grow, India is now the fourth largest in GDP, and in the very near future, we will become third largest in GDP. We should create a situation where this environment is so conducive for development that you attract students from not only from India, but to start with Asia, and then of course from the Western world. Because if you're going to be one of the fastest growing nations on this planet, I see a future where students from other continents will come to India to learn, because it's better to learn in a growing economy than in a stagnant economy. In a stagnant economy, there's hardly anything to learn. There's hardly any innovation. There's hardly any opportunity for self-growth. So we're creating a situation where India can become the pioneer that we were 4,000, 5,000 years ago. If you go into our history, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, India was the knowledge capital of the world. Somewhere along the line, we lost it. We don't know why we lost it, how we lost it. We don't even know where we lost it. We are digging here and there and finding out some scraps of evidence and say, oh, we were great once upon a time. But our mission here is not to cry about the past. Our mission here is to create a future which we can all share and be happy about what we created. So we designed Sai University from ground up to say how can we create an international university in India. And therefore, we have a design of the university. First of all, structurally, we have the chancellor and the support groups like admission, finance, registrar, the foundations of the university. And then we have 5 columns, which are standing towers of the university, the pillars of the university. First and foremost is the board of governance. If you see the board of governance that we have, both an executive council and governing council, you could see easily that is perhaps the best board of governance of any institution in this country, including private companies, including the largest corporates. There is no other board which is as eminent, as learned, as experienced as our board of governance. And our board of governance has been selected not because they are eminent people, but because they have the expertise in multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary education from around the world. Each one of them has served in some capacity in higher education, in international context. And second, of course, the pillar which is the most important pillar for our students is our faculty. I'm proud to say we have one of the best faculty teams in this country. Almost 70% of our faculty have returned after getting their doctorate degrees after getting their work experience from international universities from around the globe. You can see their profiles in our website. The people sitting on the dais, several of them are in the top 2% scientist ranking in the world. More about it, I'm sure our team will be introducing them to you. The key reason I'm saying this is, for example, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Ajit Abraham, is recognized as within the top 2% of artificial intelligence scientists in the whole world by none other than the Stanford University. So the reason I'm saying is, there are several of us here in the faculty team. If I go through it, I'll be taking a lot of the time, and I'll be possibly encroaching on the subject of my colleagues' talk. So just to see that the leadership team here itself gathers enough knowledge to represent what a student has to learn from. And the third pillar is our curriculum. Our curriculum has been designed on the lines of international universities. For those of you who know that modern universities in the world offer multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary education. No longer the case where in the past students had to go through packaged courses and they had no choice. You take economics, you get statistics and psychology free. You had no choice. If you take computer science, you possibly got computer networking and any other subject within computer science free. There's a bundled offering. The student has no freedom. So what we are offering today, we are offering in the 7 schools, except the law school which is regulated by Bar Council of India, the ability for students to pursue majors and minors across the 7 schools. That is what is called true liberal education. Students in computer science can take a minor in AI and possibly can take a minor in economics. The idea is to give the choice to the student. Because in our mind, we have to see that next 40 years, the students have to build a career. They are going to be mid-20s when they finish their higher education, and they have a working career until their mid-60s. Even if they become entrepreneurs, they have to have some retirement around mid-60s. So if you have to see how the world is going to change for the next 40 years, I have no clue. I don't think any of us here can say what's going to happen to the rest of the world in the next 40 years. So all that we can see is let the students decide for themselves, make a conscious choice of what they want to study, and with multiple disciplines so that they have flexibility to diverse themselves into different subjects as they go into their career and possibly shift their career midstream. Most people shift their career at least 2 or 3 times in their whole career. So we are here to enable the students to go through a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary education of their choice so that they can kind of build their own pathway as they go along. That's the third pillar. And fourth pillar is our infrastructure. We wanted to be a city university. We didn't want to be too far away. So we are about an hour and 15 minutes drive from IIT or the South Chennai Tidal Park, if you see. And we have 103 acres of land. And this infrastructure is not going to be built in one day. Rome was not built in one day. It's going to be built in the next 10 years. Our plan is to build 1 academic block and 1 residence block in each year. And when it's fully done, the university will be able to handle approximately 20,000 students in the campus at a time. And all this is subject to change because the introduction of newer learning methodologies, online teaching, online learning, AI-based teaching, and all of this which is emerging. The ability to learn itself is going to change. I do see a future where many of our students in the next few years will be able to do their lab experiments on their phone using AI-simulated apps. There may not be a need to have a physical lab. So if you see the context, some of our plans for physical infrastructure will change as we go along, but we'll make sure that is the best learning experience for our students. And last but not the least, the most important point of today is the fifth pillar, are our students. And our students are not selected on the basis of saying a snobbish value to say our cutoff is 100%. Many of the higher education institutions are saying that our cutoff is 100%, my cutoff is 99% or 98%. We don't believe that any single test can truly judge the potential of a student. It is not possible. Nowhere in the world is it possible. Because it depends on many factors. Maybe on that day the student was not feeling well. Maybe on that day the student has a family issue, health issue. Maybe on that day the student kind of suddenly blanked out. It happens to all of us. So it is not fair to take one test and say that I'm going to decide your entire career future based on what you do in these 2 hours or 3 hours. I think it's the biggest failure in our admission system. So what we do is what we call a 360-degree evaluation of the students, an overall evaluation of the student to see how they fit into our education model. Our education model wants students who are multi-speciality focused. So we take their school final board exams, their grades. Second, we take LOR from their school, because the schools know them better than us. Third, we give recognition to extracurricular activities, district level, state level, national level, international level. Then fourth point, we say that if the student has taken any test, we take those marks. We don't ask them to take one more test, because there is a tortuous amount of tests that a student has to go through today, that for almost 2 to 3 months they seem to be doing nothing but writing tests. And the amount of mushrooming of coaching institutions for tests only shows how prosperous the coaching institutions are. So we don't want to get into the model of another test. So if the student has taken any test, we take the score. If the student has not taken any test, in order to bring in fairness in our evaluation system, we ask the student to take one test, which is our test, which is only if they have not taken any other test. And last but not the least, every student is given a 15 to 20-minute interaction with a member of the faculty and a member of the admission team to see that the student has an interaction with a faculty member and an admission team member to understand what we offer, and we understand the student, and based on this 360-degree evaluation, we admit the students. Because we want to be sure the students' interests are best protected. Because ultimately, Sai University is all about students. How can you bring in global standards in Indian education? How can you enable Indian students to get educated here, which will bring in success for themselves, laurels for the university, and glory to this country? That, my dear friends, is the purpose, the vision, the recent diatat of Sai University. And I once again thank all of you to be present for this full event, because there are a lot of interesting discussions planned out for the day. And then there's going to be breakout discussions at the end of the sessions. Thank you very much.